Hi, welcome back to Maxim's Inside Track, filming from our new headquarters in Milton, a stone's throw from the 4X Brewery, so we'll have one of those a little bit later on in the week. From a global macro point of view, COVID still seems to be a challenge. Vaccine rollouts also a challenge, especially in Australia, as we've seen. Australia in various stages of lockdown and very challenging, per state individually. We've seen the GDT platform come off 3% This is its sixth decline in a row. Shipping challenges still around the world, especially out of the US, Europe, significant delays, even out of New Zealand, very challenging. Global milk flows still strong around the world. Europe starting to peter out, but still up on last year. American milk flow is very good, and New Zealand looking like having a good start to their season over there. Will be interesting. We've had new season milk prices released here in Australia, and we've seen nearly 2 or 3 step-ups depending on the co-op already this early in the season. So hopefully these commodity prices hold up sufficiently well enough to pay the farmers those dollars. Yeah, that'll remain to be seen. I'll start this one with whole milk powder off on the GDT, 3% down. Still very good China participation. Nothing's really changed over there. They're still the key driver of demand. Their internal liquid milk pricing is still high. A less participation from the Middle East and Southeast Asia. However, considering Fonterra pulled about 10,000 tonne off that platform over the next 6 months, still came off slightly, so yeah, could have been a worse result potentially from there. New Zealand exports into China on a rolling 12-month average of 24% up, so that just shows you the demand from there. A good milk season appears. There's plenty of moisture in the ground, as long as it doesn't get too wet over there in NZ. The milk will flow. The farmers are getting good dollars, so hopefully demand stays reasonably robust, and yeah, we probably see whole milk powder trailing off a little bit as we come into new season. Moving on to skim milk powder now. The futures predicted a slight decrease in pricing, but not to the extent that we saw on the GDT, coming off 7%, which is pretty significant for one product category. Out of the US, increased milk is significant over there, even with that Mexican demand. Government is certainly propping up that American dairy industry with funding and handouts, etc. So seeing significant milk flowing, and still challenged by shipping out of the US. So yeah, be interesting to see where that lands. We've seen feed prices come off a little bit, so the ability to feed the animals is becoming a little bit more cost effective, which is also maintaining those milk flows. So skim milk powder could be under a little bit of pressure going forward. Thankfully that China demand on the GDT platform for skim is still solid, and yeah, depending on Oceania milk flows, we should see skim hopefully plateau out a little bit, and may continue to soften out through until Christmas from here. Onto the fats now, butter and AMF. Starting to see a little bit of weakness in this category. Has been reasonably buoyant for a period of time, and whether these elevated prices have burnt off a little bit of demand, especially in some of those developing countries, yeah, this may have happened. We're seeing a bit of a rocky road out of that shift between retail and food service, and as it opens up, it closes, and yeah, so it still could continue to be a a bit of a challenged opening up of that category, which will, swing these fats in between retail and food service, but it could reduce demand overall. Butter came off 3+% on the GDT platform, AMF only down 1. So a correction in fats. We're starting to see European prices softening only ever so slightly. Once again, retail demand still seems reasonably good, and we've got those US milk flows, as I've commented on before, contributing to butter availability over there. So dairy fats could remain under a little bit of pressure going into the new oceanic season. On to the cheese market now, cheddar and mozzarella. A pretty significant drop on the GDT, bringing Oceania cheddar back down sort of comparable to other offerings, dropping 9%, which is significant. We've seen the US under a little bit of pressure as well. They have had significant export demand whilst they're price competitive. Once again, challenges getting it out of there. EU cheddar prices reasonably stable-ish to slightly weaker. So once again, food service opening, a little bit of a rocky road through that path, but I've predicting this category will be sort of sideways-ish to a tiny bit weaker, just depending on food service reopening. Final category I'll cover today is whey and lactose. Starting to see whey powder or sweet whey powder prices soften slightly, just on the back of reduced China demand and very high price points. Lactose still holding up very well. We're also seeing WPC and WPI, the higher protein wheys, attracting really significant dollars, and both products being really buoyant, and this will, I think, continue on for the foreseeable future until we can get a little bit more production through the system. Anyone that's got the capability of value adding that whey into a higher protein will certainly be doing so at these levels to get a larger return. That rounds out the report for this fortnight. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.